This channel is documenting the journey to make $1 million on YouTube. And speaking of making money, let's talk about not. I've already done a video about the new monetization rules and policies on YouTube, but things are actually worse than I expected. I'm on my channel right now, as you can see. And the crazy thing is, now when I pop up my channel, go on it on YouTube Studio, kind of like the back end, huge glaring pink notification saying action required. You have to accept the updated YouTube Partner Program terms by January 31st of next year in 2027 to avoid gaps in earnings from features like ads, YouTube Premium, and fan funding. So this is fairly aggressive. Basically saying if you don't accept these new terms, you won't be making money from YouTube ads anymore. So it's kind of like one of those things where it low-key or high-key forces you to be like, hey, you don't have to accept it, but pretty much you do. So if I click this, close this up now, and I have all these things in terms of being changed, but now let's look at the nitty-gritty that didn't really pop up before. So a few different things. YouTubers will be making money from Premium Lite. I've already talked about this. I've already talked about a few different things, but here's the interesting thing. Here's the way it works now with YouTube Shorts. Because remember before when I did a previous video, I was a bit confused. I was like, wait, what does this exactly mean? Like, how does it work? You need to be getting at least 10 million qualified Shorts views over the last 90 days, every 90 days. So let's say there was one period of 90 days where you only get 9 million, you make no money. You get kicked out. It's almost in an interesting way that now there's two YouTube Partner Programs. The YouTube Partner Program of long format content and Shorts. And the Shorts one is 1 billion times more aggressive. 10 million short views in the last 90 days, and you have to hit that mark every 90 days is bananas. I'm going to be honest, there is a fair to good chance starting February 1st of next year, I will never make a cent from YouTube Shorts ever again. Now, will they be worth it or not? We'll see what happens next year. Of course, I'll be doing videos about if the Shorts I think are worth it. I think they might still be. I don't know. Because they are a good breadcrumb. And I will say for me, like I mentioned in a lot of videos, I make between $5 and $10 for my YouTube Shorts a month. So it's not like it's a huge hit to my income, but it's still annoying nonetheless. It was still like, hey, you know what? That's what, one... Actually, no, I was about to say a burrito, but burritos are now kind of expensive. That's one maybe happy hour beer at the bar for free a month, right? It's kind of like, all right, cool side cash. And also, like I mentioned in a lot of videos, I post a lot on TikTok. I take that same video, post on other platforms. So it's not like a huge annoyance, but that's still kind of crazy. But then going down here, starting on February 1st, 2027, your channel also needs to be considered active if you meet any of the following requirements. Either 1,000 qualified watch hours in the past year, or 1 million qualified Shorts views in the last 90 days, or 2 long-form videos, or 5 Shorts uploaded every 90 days. So I don't know if they mean it can be any one of these three, or it has to be one of these plus this. It seemed like it could be any one of these three. I'm not sure exactly, but basically what they're doing now is saying not only is it harder to get to the YouTube Partner Program, you know, like I've talked about in previous videos and a lot of other creators have, you need at least now 8,000 qualified watch hours in the last 365 days. That's a lot. And then here now, they're also saying that in order to stay in it, it's now stricter. I think before it was something like I think it was like 6 months. You had to, you had to like do some kind of activity and you're still gonna be making money from a YouTube channel. Nope, not anymore. So now it's actually easier than ever before to be kicked out of the YouTube Partner Program. And this sort of things get really frustrating. And that is that as a creator, it is a job. Let me say it like that. Like to a lot of people like myself, I'm a full-time YouTuber and DJ and electronic musician. There's a lot of full-time YouTubers, some of them part-time, some of them maybe not making side cash yet. You know, you have a spectrum like anything. But I think what's interesting is in some ways, I feel like I've now looked at YouTube as an intense job interviewing process. What I mean is, for most jobs, what do? You intern, you get the job, you start making money. But for some of them, sometimes you do an unpaid internship. This is very common. You work for them for a bit, you don't get paid, maybe when you're in college or whatever. And then if you do well, they eventually then will pay you and sign you up. That's kind of what YouTube is like now. In terms of you work for them for a while, you make tons of content. If you hit 1,000 subscribers, and now 8,000 public watch hours in the last 12 months, then they're like, hey, you get good metrics, you're doing well, let's review your channel. If it looks good, we're signing you up. So it is kind of like doing an unpaid internship, totally get the full-time offer or the paid time offer in some way, shape, and form. And then now, in a way where they're saying, again, similar to a job, if you don't show up, eventually the job says, hey, sorry, dude, you've not shown up in the past, whatever, we're firing you. We're not going to hire you anymore. We're not going to pay you anymore. That's now what YouTube is doing. And in some ways, you could argue, well, that makes some sense. But in the other ways, with the way content creation works, which is vastly different than a typical 9-to-5 job, it is weird that YouTube will basically do this thing where, let's say, if you don't hit these metrics, even if you're in the YouTube Partner Program, they'll kick you out, yet they'll still put ads in your video. They'll still recommend your videos to other people. So it's like YouTube gets all the benefit while the creators get way less benefits. In addition, as you're trying to get monetized on YouTube and get into the YouTube Partner Program, those 8,000 public watch hours, during that time, YouTube can still put ads in your videos. So they'll still be making money from the videos, but making it harder for you to make money yourself. And that's, I think, why a lot of creators are frustrated, that it's like, wait a minute, if let's say YouTube wasn't making any money until you start making money, let me word it like that. Not saying it would be better, but it kind of would be. It would make more logical sense. But it's still weird that YouTube is willing to put ads on people or on videos that are not in the YouTube Partner Program yet. And it's like, no big deal to YouTube. And I think another thing I will say, and I've gotten some comments about the previous video that I did first talking about this, that not only is this affecting small creators, right? It's affecting anybody trying to get into the YouTube Partner Program. But two, does this really affect very specific niches? That was a very interesting comment that I got. And thinking about it, I would have to agree. Like if I started a YouTube channel about fitness and everything's about working out, that's one of the most popular topics to do a YouTube channel about. Same thing with gaming. Yes, these are competitive, but they're popular. But if I did a channel, and let's say, I don't know if this is the example of the comment how that I read, but I'm just making this up. I can't remember if this is what they said or not, but let's say I did a channel, and it's all about sci-fi books. And every video is about a new sci-fi book that I read because I love reading sci-fi. That's just my thing and everything. That's a pretty specific niche, right? You're talking about reading, book reviews, you're talking about fiction book reviews, and then sci-fi fiction in a sense. There could be a fair to good chance that even if I make 100 videos and then 200 videos and I read all these books and everything, that I might never cross that threshold in order to get monetized because that niche just isn't big enough. So in some way, shape, and form too, which is very unfortunate, I do wonder, is this also going to affect some niches? Like if I am somebody who's really passionate about reading and I love sci-fi, for example, and let's say I'm like, hey, my dream would be just to read books and make money from it. I can maybe do virtual book clubs. I can do live streams. I can do, I can just make money from the ads. Maybe I write my own book and I promote, like maybe that's my dream. Could it be that some niches might fall off? Because if, let's say I was trying to make money as a sci-fi book reviewer, I now might be less likely to make a YouTube channel. I might do something else. Maybe I just get a job and I just read when I feel like it as a hobby. Like rather than treat it like a job that could be my job, right? And I feel like that's really unfortunate that I could see, and I think that comment made a good point, that I can see for a lot of small creators and small niches, this now making some niches not as profitable, not as worth it. And I think the thing that for me, I've always loved about YouTube is you can see videos about anything. Let's be honest. You want to know how to tie a tie? Boom, they got you. You want to know how to do a push-up? Boom, they got you. You want to watch a video about an obscure, let's say, sci-fi book that very few people know about? You go on YouTube and there's some guy or girl out there who did a full video review so you can know if it's worth it or not to read that book. You can find anything on YouTube. But I do wonder now how this is going to affect small niches. This is why I think what YouTube is doing now is going to affect a lot of creators. And I think, in my opinion, it's going to make the platform worse. Because not only that, let's say you do have a sci-fi channel and it's about sci-fi books and everything, and it's doing well, and you're in the YouTube Partner Program. Like I said, once you're in the club, you're in. But let's say you may not hit these metrics. Let's say you got in the club and you're just scraping by, maybe it's not a full living that you're, doing, but you're still in it kind of thing. I would wonder if this would make it worse, because for some creators, they might want to just try to stay afloat. And I will say, these metrics here aren't that bad. 1,000 public watch hours in the last year is pretty small, especially, like, say, if you've already been getting traffic, especially posting, like, say, two long format videos or 5 shorts in 90 days. I mean, you could post 5 shorts in 1 day. So the good thing is staying in it isn't wicked strict, but it's still another thing that people have to worry about. And all these things, again, like I'm saying, I think ruin both and make things more difficult, in my opinion, for one, small creators, but also I think people who are already in the YouTube Partner Program, that now the barrier to entry, but also the barrier to stay in, are way more strict.